Hi drivers, we're here once again from Truckers Justice Center. My name's Paul Taylor and I'm here to talk about again the anatomy of a truck driver's whistleblower suit. Whistleblowing is when you refuse to break the law, a commercial vehicle safety regulation, or when you make complaints to your employer about violations of the law. In the last video I talked about some of the things that we need from you to make an analysis of whether or not we want to take your case, and some things that we consider, like, do you have a working phone number? Are you going to be a difficult client? Are you going to take advice and direction in a case? Right now I'm going to go to the next stage, which is after I've decided that I want to take your case or that I'm really interested in it, we're going to have a real long talk. Typically it's going to be about an hour. It'll probably be in the evening, and I'm going to take you through some things. One is the law. I'm going to talk to you about various scenarios and what the law allows you to recover if you've been wrongfully fired. Two, I'm going to talk about how the process works. Three, in that long talk I'm going to talk about a fee arrangement, and we work on a contingent fee, which means we get paid out of the proceeds of the case, but I nonetheless talk in that long talk about how I'm going to get paid and who is responsible for expenses in a case. Most importantly, though, and the longest part of the talk is going to be about goals and expectations. And I have this talk with every person, and when I was a young lawyer 15 or 20 years ago, I didn't quite have that talk. I thought if I had a good settlement proposal on the table, I could, in fact, persuade a driver to my way of thinking, or a client. Wasn't always drivers 20 years ago. Now it is about 99% drivers whom I represent. So when we talk about goals and expectations, typically I'm going to tell you that the court is not Santa Claus. If you've got illegally fired because you wouldn't drive with an audible air leak or a bald tire or called DOT, and you're out of work for 2 weeks, the court's not going to award you $1 million. They're going to award you 2 weeks of back pay, most likely, and attorney's fees, and perhaps a cleaning up of your DAC report. So goals and expectations are that your goal and expectation should be that you're going to get a reasonable amount of money if I take your case, and the goal should be to at least get you the amount of back pay you're out from an unreasonable or an unlawful firing, and 2, to get me paid, and 3, to get yourself a neutral reference and a clean DAC report. You know, it's rare to ever get a case without going to trial, to get a case that where it settles for more than $100,000. We've been able to do it without going to trial for a driver a handful of times. If you're looking for big money, you better be prepared to be in it for the long run. So that's one of the things I talk about to drivers when I have my long talk with them. Do you understand that we might be going on 3 to 5 years if we don't settle? That is not uncommon. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter. The goals in the case, if your goals are these, then this is something I'm willing to represent you on. Namely, that your goal is to get yourself your back pay that you're out through wrongfully being fired, get yourself a clean DAC report, a neutral reference, and get me paid. I will talk to you if I decide to take your case in my long hour-plus long talk with you about improper goals. I've had drivers tell me, Paul, I want to be famous and be on TV. Paul, I want to write a book exposing corruption in the trucking industry. Paul, I want you to make the other side spend lots of money. Paul, I want to be able to tell my story at all cost. Paul, I want you to grill my former dispatcher and crucify him on the witness stand. Now, those are all things that might happen, but those are not proper goals. A court can't give you your self-respect back. A court can't give you your dignity back. The one thing that a court in a whistleblower suit can do is order the other side to offer you your job back, give you money, and basically clean up your DAC report. Aside from that, any other goals are not something that we're interested in taking your case. So if you're not willing to conform your goals to my goals, I'd wish you the best of luck. If we can come to an agreement and reasonable expectations on goals, then we'll probably be able to do business. As a final thought, I expect my clients to keep working cell phones at all times, to return my calls and emails properly, and to keep a working mail address. In turn, I'm going to, if I take your case, I'm going to return your calls promptly. I usually return calls within 1 business day. I might be calling you at 10 o'clock at night and telling you I just got out of court and will call you in the morning. But I promise to work hard for you and to return your calls promptly. I expect that my clients are going to work just as hard as I do in pursuing their case through my law firm, and also will return my calls and email properly. If we're able to come to an agreement on goals and expectations, we're probably going to do business together and fight for justice for you against any carrier that's wrongfully terminated you. Thanks, and have a nice day.